Welcome back, everybody, to FTBL Final Whistle. It's myself, Lias, and of course, my boy Culture Cams back at you again with a Champions League review. And today we are at halftime of this all-Italian showdown Champions League semifinal between Inter Milan and AC Milan. There's a lot of hype around this before the game, obviously, because I think it's the first time since 2003 that these two meet at this stage in the Champions League. There's a lot of talk before it. Obviously, if you saw like the images before the game. I mean, the fans were definitely up for it. The San Siro was popping as always. Was the game though as great as it was probably built up to be, or as we were hoping it would be as neutrals? Probably not. But of course, we will get into all of that. We'll talk about some of the big performers of tonight, some things that we took away tactically, and maybe some things that we think either team has to change going into next week's second semifinal. Before we do all of that, though, make sure you like, share, subscribe, hit the notifications, share the stream, and share this channel with all your friends who aren't already. If they're looking for football content, this is the place to be. Without further ado, Cam, how you doing tonight, bro?
Yes, bro. We said, man, that was all right one, man. I ain't gonna lie, that was a bit, you know what I mean? That was a bit mid. But listen, still the Champions League, so let's get into it, bruv.
Yeah, I actually told you before the stream even started, right? I said, I want you to be honest about this because it doesn't do anyone any good for us to come on here and pretend that we're watching some amazing, I like what you said the other day, right? Like people will pretend to be hipsters about these teams and gas them up, but at the end of the day, we get paid to say what we're watching. And if it's not of high quality, we have to be absolutely honest about it. But what I will say is I think the first half was actually not bad, to be honest with you, especially the first 10, 15 minutes. Inter came out like a house on fire, bro. The intensity and the aggression that they played with Milan, who are already missing their leader up front and Rafael Leao, their best player, look shell shocked. They were the home team, if you'd like, today. And in fact, in terms of how many Milan fans were there, I think it was 75 to 25% AC Milan fans, but it seemed like an Inter home game. It seemed like they were the team that had the crowd on their back. And the way they came out was ridiculous. And I think the main takeaway for me from this game was really shown in the first 15 minutes. The Inter midfield three of Hakan Çalhanoğlu, Henrik Mkhitaryan, and Barella dominated Milan's midfield, dominated them. And look at the goals. It comes from Inter's high press. It comes from them winning the ball in the midfield. It comes from them making runs in behind the likes of Tonali, the likes of Benacer when he's on the pitch. And truthfully, look, they scored through Edin Dzeko off a corner. They scored through Henrik Mkhitaryan off the break, but they could have scored 3, 4, 5 in that first half. It literally looked like you wouldn't know that Inter are 5th or 6th in Serie A and Milan were the champions from last season. It was crazy. And I was talking to you before during the game, right? Cam wants Milan to win, but he actually thought Inter would win. I want Inter to win, but I actually thought Milan would win. And it was like vice versa situation here. And the first half, man, it was really men versus boys and not what I expected to see from Inter or Milan whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, AC, like Milan had no offensive threat, no proper threat that you actually at any point thought this team is gonna, how should I say, this team is gonna score goals or this team is gonna win the game, bro. Like once the game started, okay, they were massively let down by how poor they were defensively. Tomori dropped to 0 out of 10 today. Theo Hernandez, I don't think he was that great today either. But all round, you just look at them offensively, you can see they're missing a Rafael Leao or they're missing. Even so, it's only him that's necessarily missing from that front line, I believe. So I was looking at it and I was like, this is absolutely underwhelming, bro. I'm literally watching a Champions League semi-final with Olivier Giroud and Dzeko leading the front lines. Like that's 2014 matchup. Am I lying? That's a
They're both
2014.
36 years old, bro.
This is what I mean. That's a 2014 matchup. There wasn't anything in this game, and I'm going to be honest, there wasn't anything in this game that made me think like, oh, wow, this is outstanding quality or anything. Yeah, you have players like Brozovic, who we all know about already. Do you know what I mean? Brozovic is a good player. We know about Dzeko already. All round, it was just underwhelming, bro. They got out there, done their job Inter early, and then for the rest of it, they were pretty comfortable. You know what I mean? Origi tried to come off the bench and make some impact. Nah, you know what I mean? It's not really hitting. And yeah, all round, it was just, people were looking at players like Tonali and all of that, but nah, I wasn't moved, man, in this game. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, the atmosphere in the first 25, 30 minutes was lit. I was like, this is nice. But when you think about what AC Milan are about and what Inter Milan were about, you think about the previous fixtures, because you're seeing all the build up on internet or wherever you look, right? You're seeing the stuff like Zlatan versus Materazzi and all these Rui Costa and Zambrata. Oh, not Zambrata, sorry, Materazzi as well. But you know what I mean? All these type of
Yeah,
images,
of course, of course.
R9, all this type of stuff. But nah, when you look at the names on the pitch today, I'm like, nah, I'm not moved, bro. I'm not moved at all, man. And it's when you see what one of these teams are going to go into the final, you're only expecting one result from. It's either obviously you're feeling it's easily gonna be the Real Madrid or Man City. So yeah, man, look, a lot of people are gonna be like, hey, nah, these guys are good players. That no, they're not though, really. They're not that good, bro. I don't care what nobody tells me, they're not that good. You know what I mean? There's a few players that are decent. I like Barella. Brozovic is all right. Bastoni, I like Bastoni. Who else
I
is there?
think Tonali, to be honest, bar the mistake that he made for the goal, I still think he's a good player. I actually thought he was decent tonight.
Yeah, he's all right, man. He's all right. But I feel like every time I do catch Tonali, I'm like, all right, you can do a little bit more, but yeah, I can see that he's got qualities. Oh yeah, by the way, the one that I was really impressed with, but I know him, I've seen him all the time, is Onana. The passing ability was he was zipping it about for fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
joke.
mean, zip, 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 zip. I was like, yeah, he's the only person. Imagine that I'm watching a Champions League semi-final and the goalkeeper is the only person that moved me. That is mad.
Yeah. No, look, his distribution is an absolute joke. And I thought actually both goalkeepers on display. You look at what United has at their disposal, and you look at the two Champions League goalkeepers tonight. I think United and a lot of teams could do with both of those goalkeepers. But yeah, we'll go into basically what you were talking about in terms of the quality, because I have my own opinion on that as well. I've touched on it a few times. But back to the game. I find it interesting with Milan, right? The reason I thought Milan would beat Inter is because I feel like what I said to you yesterday. I feel like the Champions League is the league of the stars. It's a competition that more often than not 1 to 2 to 3 players can almost like guide you through that tournament. And I looked at Milan versus Inter, and I see the stars, if you want to call them that, more so towards Milan's side. You look at Mike Mania, you look at Theo Hernandez, you look at Benacer, and you look at Rafael Leao. I didn't really see anyone on Inter's side that could really stack up to that in terms of individual quality. But I think the problem with Milan at the same time, too, is that they are very reliant on those 4 players. So when one of them or 2 of them, as Benacer went out in that first half, kind of go out, hey, you kind of see the flaws and the lack of quality in other positions that kind of get exposed even more because you don't have a Leao to almost bail them out. And bro, I mean, I think it's crazy. You kind of look through this Milan team, and it's a lot of Premier League rejects. It's a lot of players. And I was actually saying this Milan team, for a team that won the league last year, it's perhaps the most underwhelming transfer window that any champion in Europe has ever had. Because to go from winning the league and then strengthen it as poorly as they did, it was a really poor transfer window for Milan. It's very, very underwhelming. And I think it leads to the bigger point that, bro, these Italian teams, for the most part, are broke. This Inter team is kind of built off scraps from Manchester United's rejects. Darmian, Romelu Lukaku, Alexis Sanchez, they finally got off the books, but he was there as well too. You look at Milan, you have the likes of Divock Origi, off Liverpool's bench. Olivier Giroud off Chelsea's bench. Tomori, who we'll go on into in a minute, was from Chelsea's bench. So I think that the bigger point from all of this is that, look, bro, all around Europe, bar Real Madrid, really the Premier League, these big European teams are really struggling financially, and they're struggling to put together teams with the quality that we should be accustomed to seeing when you talk about Inter and AC Milan. You talk about some of the names that we think of, bro, these two teams in terms of individual quality are light years away from them.
I mean, the only good thing, I guess, is that Serie A is actually pretty much of a decent league in terms of watching, in terms of entertainment, in terms of different teams are winning it every year.
Yes.
So as a product, I guess they're happy about that. You know what I mean? In terms of entertainment value, I think if you think about it, Premier League is getting dominated, but we know Premier League is entertaining. you look at the other leagues and stuff, you probably say that Serie A is one of the ones that you end up looking around and you just see people are in different positions every single season. So I like that about them. I like that about the Serie A. But as you mentioned, in terms of the quality on the pitch and stuff, it's very average. That could have easily, let's be honest, that could have easily been a Europa semi and no one would have batted their eye. Would have been like, okay, this is a team that Chelsea beat 5-0, no? In the same this season.
Over 2 legs, they beat them 5.
Yeah, over 2 legs, 5-0 with Graham Potter. Graham Potter was part of that as well. So yeah, I don't know. In terms of the Super League discussion, I don't know. You mentioned the worst window, but hey, I don't think you remember Man City 12-13 window, bro.
Is that the one where they signed Maicon on his last legs?
Bro, I think so. They signed like Javi Garcia.
Yeah.
Bro,
Nastasic. Remember Nastasic?
Yeah. I don't know what Man City were doing, bro. That window, and we went and bought Van Persie. Yeah. Oh my days. Anyway,
to be fair too, we had a really crap one in 09-10 after winning the league.
Yeah,
we lost Ronaldo and Tevez and signed Obertan and Valencia and Owen.
I don't want to make it a thing about Man United, but that just reminded me. So I always laugh at that window, that 12-13 window. I can't believe Man City did that. But but yeah, man, overall, bro, like we have to keep it 100. It wasn't the greatest semi-final. Easily could have been a Europa League semi-final. And look, big up to Inter for going and getting the job done. I'm trying to say they got to get the job done. They got to do what they got to do, whether we like it or not, or whether we're entertained or not. They're here to make history, and they're getting to their second final in first final in 13 years since the great Jose Mourinho side, which was stacked with quality. You know what I mean? Yes, the disparity between that team and this team is unbelievable, but they got to do what they got to do, man. So credit to them. Credit to them, bro. Yeah, I mean, for getting the job done, as I said.
No, I absolutely agree. Speaking on Inter, right? I mean, that first half, we talked about it. More so the first 20 minutes, they were exhilarating, in my opinion. Like, I haven't seen Inter look like that often this season. But I think overall, even though they were obviously less impressive in the second half, I thought they managed the game very well, to be honest with you. They never looked uncomfortable at any stage, really. Milan never troubled them too much. And I think that's testament to Inzaghi, who, I mean, I told you a few weeks ago, I kind of likened him as like a Walmart version of Ancelotti, as in terms of like league football, he's never been that guy. His teams have never really excelled like that. But in cup competitions, his teams have always been a threat. He's always won a few cups with Lazio in the past. He's won cups with Inter. And although their form this season in Serie A has been pretty poor, even though it is improving recently, in the cups, he's not just on the verge of making a Champions League final, guys. He's also led Inter Milan to the Coppa Italia final too. So Inzaghi is a bit of an expert when it comes to knockout football. I think he sets up his teams very well for these two-legged ties. And even last year when they played Liverpool in the Champions League, I think Liverpool won on individual quality, but neither of those legs were comfortable whatsoever. And I think he even ended up winning the tie at Anfield, or he won the leg at Anfield, only losing it on aggregate. So credit to Inzaghi and credit to Inter, like you said, bro, because yeah, we can talk about their quality all you want, but they looked very comfortable, and they can only really play who's in front of them. And if they go to the final at this point, look, I've basically ruled them out of every single leg. Benfica, this one, who did they play before? Porto. But they are showing that they are resilient. They play very well as a unit. And one thing I also really like about them too, which is very like exclusive to just Inter, it seems like, how many teams really can, the top teams, if you want to call them, still play with two up front? I can't think of many. You see all these teams playing with like one guy or like these inside forwards. There are traditional two strikers up front, one little guy, one big guy. And Lautaro Martinez, as much stick as we end up giving him, right? In the World Cup, I thought he was absolutely dreadful. But the guy is a different player when you put him in a strike partnership. I think he finds a very good dynamic, whether it's with Dzeko, whether it's with Lukaku. He's very intelligent. He's actually very good at holding up the ball well. And I know that penalty was correctly outruled, but like I thought he did a very good job all night of holding up the ball, turning his defenders, and getting unders into play. So credit to him.
Who was that guy that AC Milan brought up? Messias or something?
Yeah, he was awful. That's one of the worst cameos.
Bro, that cameo, that was spooky. I was like, come on, man. But look, as you mentioned with Inter, they're doing their job as accordingly, and they're just playing the underdog role now. Yeah, I mean, if they do get to the final, look, We all think Man City, we all think Real Madrid are going to win it. But what pressure do they have? Did anyone expect at the start of the season that you'll see an Italian team in the final, let alone Inter? Nobody did.
No.
Yeah, I mean, if we did, people start saying maybe Napoli. For Inter to be there, you got to still at the same time, as much as it's hard to, you got to give them their respect and their dues. That at the end of the day, it's a one-off game potentially in a final, and anything can happen. What if they got a penalty in the first? What if they get a penalty in the first 20 minutes and just hold out? You just don't know with football. Do you know what I mean? They don't have to be the best team. We've said it many times. You don't have to be the best team in the world to win the Champions League. We know this. You don't have to be the best team in the world to win the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, the Coppa Italia, any cup.
Even the World Cup.
World Cup, Euros. You do not have to be the best to win cups. So that's the fighting chance. In boxing, they say you get a puncher's chance.
Yeah.
That's what they got in it. They got a puncher's chance. So it's not over. It's only half time. AC Milan can go and get a 2-0. They can go to extra time. It can go to penalties 100%. But they're going to need Rafael Leao back 100%. The injury to Benacer, that's uncomfortable for them as well. The keeper was even limping for quite a while. So yeah, it's a bit of a weird one, man. But I fancy Inter now to go through. I fancy them to go through in the beginning. I'm supporting AC because of the heritage, because of the history of AC Milan. Just seeing on paper, even though we know what it is, just on paper, seeing Milan versus Madrid, bro, the two teams with the most European Cups, you're like, yo, this is lit. Do you know what I mean? But reality is, it's not really that lit. Do you know what I mean? But hey, City Inter just doesn't feel lit. I don't know.
Nah, bro. I agree. I totally agree, bro. Hey, Lukaku, if Lukaku wins the Champions League, bro, that'll be the final nail in the coffin of what is the worst Chelsea season in history. Chelsea fans better pray Lukaku doesn't win the Champions League.
Imagine he scores. He scores.
He's gonna come out with his own rendition of Dreams and Nightmares, bro.
I'd never said, when did I once say Inter have no history? You just, AC have the European history. It's a fact. AC Milan have won 7 Champions Leagues or European Cups, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't have to be Inter don't have history, but AC are more synonymous with football than Inter. That's just the reality. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, you think about the Baresi team, think about the 80s, Van Basten, all them, man. And you think about the Kaká, the Ancelotti teams. You know what I mean? Even when football started moving towards its social media age, and they had El Shawari and Zlatan and Robinho and they've always had something, man.
Kevin Prince Boateng.
I'll
never forget him moonwalking after winning the league, bro. That shit was lit.
Man like Pato, man like flipping Mexis. Yeah, I mean,
Mex says we're entering the banter era. I can't lie, bro. Mex was a clown, bro.
Mexis will be worth 100 million in this era.
Oh, bro. Stop, bro. Mexis and Zapata. Oh, stop, bro. And Yepes. Oh my god, bro.
That technical ability, damn. But now, realistically, I would like for the optics, just for the optics, a Real Madrid AC Milan final. But on paper, if you're looking at City being at home, you're looking at Inter lead, it's looking like it could potentially be a City Inter final. So fair enough, man. They had to hand it to Pep easy, man. They had to give it to him. They had to give it to him easy, man. But it is what it is.
Hey, City fans are going to twist this into, look, we beat Bayern, we beat Real Madrid, we beat AC Milan, we beat all the heritage teams, bro. Money can buy you love.
Hey, the oil tear up, man. But hey, fair enough, man.
Yeah, you got to get it how you can, bro. Beggars can't be choosers. On to Milan, right? Is it really just as simple as next leg they need Leao back, and if they don't, they have no chance? Or is there maybe any tactical thing that you looked at today that needs to be tweaked going into next game? Or maybe it's just a question of, they just got to come out hungrier than they did today because they came out so flat.
Mm-hmm. All I can say is they'll probably have to start with Origi, start with Giroud, so you have just a little bit more offensive threat. As I said, I wasn't impressed with the front three at all. There's nothing I can really say without Leao that they have much confidence. I have much confidence in them doing anything, to be honest. And secondly, when you're getting let down by your defenders like that, there's also not much a coach can do. Tomori was sleeping on every opportunity. Dzeko was peeling off him. Dzeko was running past him. Dzeko was muscling him off the ball. Lukaku came on, started muscling him off the ball as well. I was like, mate, this is a serious howler. You know what I mean? You got to have bottle in these type of moments. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like not bottle, you got to have like confidence. You got to stand up in these moments. And we all gave him, we said well done to him against his job against Osimhen. You know what I mean? He spoke well after the game and stuff. But in this game, he looked like he was shell shocked. He looked like he had stage fright. Do you know what I mean? So stuff like that, you can't legislate for. You can't legislate for as a coach that your centre back is just going to go out and do that. Same way when you look at United in the semis, you can't legislate in the Europa for your goalkeeper and your centre back to do a madness like that.
Same thing with Upamecano, right? Yeah.
Upamecano, Tuchel couldn't do nothing about Upamecano moving mad like that. Do you know what I mean? Except from maybe sub him at halftime. That's the only thing. So yeah, Tomori, look, I've always been one of the people that say, look, Maguire should be starting for England, not Tomori. You know what I mean? I'm not going to use this as like a, hey, I told you, sir, or anything like that. But I'm seeing everyone talk about it online. But this is sometimes people get crowned a little bit too early. Yeah, I mean, that's how I see it. But he's doing well in Italy. But yeah, today wasn't it.
I feel bad for Tomori, to be honest with you, because I think the 2 times that people have really noticed him this season, like the 2 games that Milan have really been on like primetime television, because even their knockout games, they've been like the second game of that day. No one is really watching Milan carefully. But the 2 games he's really been like shown on TV was against Chelsea, where he was really, really poor. He even got a red card, and tonight. And he actually locked up Kane and Osimhen, bro, over the 2 legs against Napoli. Napoli was 1 game, and then against Spurs over 2 legs. So I do feel bad for him, right? Because this is what I say all the time about the Champions League. This is where really people tune into a player for 1 or 2 times a season, and if they play amazing, then they're going to get crowned. If they play crap, hey, bro, that's going to follow them around for the next year until they really put on a top performance on the big stage that everyone's going to take notice of.
He's an all right defender. Like, he's just an all right defender in terms of what people's trajectory or viewpoints of him. What was it before the game? Was it he's potentially world class? Was it he's top? It's not. So he's just an okay. He's a decent centre back. He's okay, and he just had a bad game. Upamecano's was worse, because everyone was starting to put him in the bracket of one of the best in the game and World Cup and stuff. But Tomori's just doing what he needs. He's at the level that he should be. AC Milan, that's good. If he comes to the Prem, would he play for a top 6 side at this point? Probably not.
I think he would. When you see who Spurs employ.
Nah, but does he improve Spurs though? He doesn't improve them.
He walks into that team. I think he does, bro. They play Eric Dyer. Like this is where for me it gets out of hand. Like people say, "Oh, Tomori shouldn't even been in the England setup." Like, bro, they call up Cody, they call up Dyer, they call up Mings. We see these guys put on howlers every.
Does he improve Spurs though?
I would say so.
Saying he walks into the team isn't really anything. You can say Lindelof walks into their team,
but I would say Lindelof improves Spurs as well.
I don't think they improve him. No,
I think they do, bro.
He go to Spurs and get pumped like they do. He's not going to go Spurs and all of a sudden their defensive record improves, and they're not. He's just going to go in there because he's better than Eric Dyer, but he's going to get pumped just like Eric Dyer.
I disagree. I think, look, bro, you're putting in one bad player for one player. Oh, I don't think Tomori is world class, but I think he's a good defender, bro. He gets in there. Oh, that we agree on for sure. But you replace poor defenders with good defenders, your defensive record is going to improve. You replace Longley and Dyer with Tomori and Lindelof. I think Spurs.
What did you think when you saw Sabitzer was going to replace McTominay? You probably thought Man United's midfield is going to improve. The problem is you thought that, right?
I would have thought that, but let me tell you the difference. For me, Sabitzer has proven that he's no better than those guys. That's the difference. I believe that Tomori is better than Dyer, and I believe he's better than Longley. That's just my opinion.
Well, then you could easily turn around after he replaces them and be like, yeah, he's a little bit better than them, but he's not improved them to the level that they can be. Improving, I'm talking about improving, like he's going to make them go be a better level. I don't think he would. He will go to Spurs. They will get pumped just like they get pumped now. I don't see Tomori like fixing their defense. I don't see that, like, personally. That's just me.
I saw him do it with Milan. I saw him come to Milan and their defensive record improved. So I don't know why he couldn't do it at Spurs, but maybe it's agreed.
Fair enough.
But yeah, no, like I just think, you know, he's gonna have. It's not as extreme as Upamecano, right? Because Upamecano was a suicide job, bro. Let's be real. But I think he's another one that, again, when England lineups get called up and people might say, "Oh, why is Tomori not in there?" People will remember this game, and this will be the reason why they'll kind of justify why he shouldn't be in the England setup, rightly or wrongly. I had a few more points that I wanted to kind of speak about. Inter. Let's talk about the first goal scorer of the night, Edin Dzeko. Another
Wow.
big moment in his career. I didn't think he played like the greatest game, but it's another big moment in quite an underrated career, in my opinion. I know we kind of spoke about him when we did our best strikers of the 2010s, but his resume is nothing to sniff at, guys. Look, league title of Wolfsburg, which was a great accomplishment when you look at the power struggle in Germany. Comes to Manchester City, plays such a huge role in their early success under Mancini. Goes to Roma, has great success there, and now at Inter at 36 years old, crazy, is helping lead the line alongside Lautaro and scoring big goals in Europe as Inter aim to make their first Champions League final since 2010. So give me a few words on Edin Dzeko and how impressive a career he's had.
Do you know what? Just underappreciated. Do you know what I mean? Like, whether it's being a starting striker, he'll score goals and win a league. Whether it's being a bench player, he'll come off the bench and score goals and contribute anywhere in his career. Left foot, right foot, headers, clinical. The guy was a proper striker. And listen, he's actually always been someone. When he left Man City, I've always wanted him to somehow find his way at Man United, bro. He is the type of striker that will get you goals regardless. And he's the type of striker that will do a bit part if you need to. I love Dzeko, man. I love Edin Dzeko. Like, I wish there was more Edin Dzekos in this day and age, bro. Do you know what I mean? I just wish there was. He's quality. For me, he's quality. And look, I'm happy for him to score. He's 37 years old with that 14 goals in this season. That's decent for a 37-year-old. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, big respect to him. Obviously, everyone's going to start saying he's so underrated and stuff, which he probably has been all his career. Now, does that mean he should have been called? The reason I say underappreciated is because underrated. I wouldn't say he's underrated because he's never been a top 5 striker in football or something. He's never been in conversations, but underappreciated is just like just respecting what he does. You know what I mean? He deserves a lot of more respect on his name, man. So big him up, man. Big him up. I'm happy for him, bro. I'm happy for him. And if he was to score a winner in the final, wow.
Against Man City.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, I mean, imagine that.
No, it'd be great, man. I agree with you about Dzeko, right? Dzeko, the thing that I always say about Dzeko is I feel like I wish he was like kind of in his prime in the last few years, because I think the way he played is like how you see a lot of like the top strikers play today. He was really a big man, but with exceptionally good feet. Like he could score with either foot, obviously great in the air, good with his back to goal, good at bringing others into play. He really didn't have, I mean, he wasn't the quickest player, let's be real, but outside of that, he was a really, really top number 9. And I think, he was unlucky that he played in a City team where, look, there were so many great forwards and he really did so much damage off the bench that he became known as their super sub, even though I know he didn't like that whatsoever. I think he came out in an interview one time. He said, look, I don't want to be known as that. I want to be a starter. But the amount of big goals that he scored for throughout his career, right? Against Barca. I remember that volley that he scored against Chelsea for Roma.
Against QPR.
Yeah,
it wouldn't have started without Edin Dzeko, bro. Do you know what I mean? Without him, so
I remember the 4 goals against Spurs, bro. I remember the 4-goal performance against Spurs.
Bro,
quality,
proper striker, man. Proper gunman. People are talking about Weghorst, and man said Weghorst and Thingy are twins. That's crazy.
Disgusting. That's disgusting.
It's Saeed. He thinks we don't know. He was hyping Weghorst.
That's disgusting, bro. What?
Berbatov. Saeed.
Hold on. Saeed said Berbatov. He sees shades of Berbatov and Weghorst.
Listen, I don't know, man. I don't know, bro. No. Man like Saeed, madman, bro.
That's criminal. That's criminal.
In the big 6, you got to defend yourself a lot. So sometimes you gotta say that, innit? You know what I mean? You got to defend your team blindly. You know what I'm saying? So Saeed said he didn't say that.
Hey, bring us the tapes. We
need VAR on that one, Saeed, because that's what everyone be talking about. That is what everybody be talking about. But anyway, forget Weghorst, man. Forget Weghorst. But yeah, big up Dzeko, man. Killer, gunman, and underappreciated, man. Those are 3 words for him, bro.
Let me read a few of these super chats because we do have a few coming in, and we appreciate you guys as always. Starting with Adam with the super chat saying this game was never about the football. It was about the heart and the passion. That being said, both of these teams are going to get smoked in the final. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, I think me and Cam definitely agree that, look, next week's Champions League semifinal at the Etihad, in my opinion, is the real Champions League final. And I think, to be honest, in knockout football, it's often like this. Like, maybe not the World Cup. This World Cup isn't a great example, but I think of the World Cup in 2018, for example. For me, France versus Belgium was the actual final. Like, in the Champions League, sometimes the Real Madrid versus Bayern semifinal was the actual final. Like, you just knew the team that came out of that tie was going to end up winning the competition. I think this is like that on steroids. Everybody knows, barring some crazy miracle, that the Champions League winner this year will be Real Madrid or Manchester City. It's just too much quality, too much money on their side. That the coaching is just much better. There's levels to this game, absolutely. Adam also have a quick super chat that he sent in just now saying, ain't no way I'm going to see Lukaku, Mkhitaryan, and a 36-year-old in the Champions League final in 2023. Are you mad? Get that shit out of my screen. Ash says, does Brennan Johnson or Morgan Gibbs-White start for AC Milan? What do you think? I think you're on mute.
Bro, I think Gibbs-White does. I vibe with Brennan Johnson, but I don't know. But in terms, I don't know about that one. But Gibbs-White does.
Gibbs-White in front of a pivot of Tonali and Benacer. That's kind of a problem, bro.
Yeah, there might be hoop in there, bro.
That's a nice midfield.
That's a real good team, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
Ash also says
that Messias guy. I mean,
yeah, someone actually
start ahead of him.
Messias, bro. I think, bro, the story with him. I think he became a professional at 25 years old. Like, I think this is actually true, bro. He used to be a fisherman.
He played like it. He played like it, bro. I thought that's the first thing I thought. I said he plays like he's a fisherman, bro. When I saw him.
Okay, LeBron.
I saw him fishing, man. Man.
I used to actually fish with him.
yeah. Caught a big one, man. Caught a big one.
Yeah, the big one he caught was his career, bro. Ash with the other super chat says Harry Kane didn't manage to score against AC Milan over 2 legs. I'm gonna go even further than that, right? Antonio Conte not only got eliminated by this Milan side, but this Inter side couldn't get out of the group stage of Antonio Conte at the helm. And since then, they've been flying. Questions need to be asked, my friend. Questions need to be asked.
Uncomfortable.
Very, very, very uncomfortable. Mohammed A says City replaced Edin Dzeko with Wilfred Bony. Oh my God. There was another super chat too. There was another chat earlier too, Cam. That window that you were talking about in 2012-13, we didn't even mention the biggest flop that they signed. Jack Rodwell.
Yeah, I put in the comments.
That was you, bro. Jack Rodwell. Oh my God.
Rodwell, Nastasic, Garcia. Who else was there? Scott Sinclair, I think.
It's true. Maicon was washed.
Bro, that must not have been the Abu Dhabi behind that, bro, because
that wasn't Tiki yet. That wasn't Tiki yet.
Yeah, because they lined up Mancini to get sacked, you know. They knew they wanted Pellegrini, surely. They lined him up, bro, like crazy. That is crazy, bro. The next summer was like Negredo and
Jovetic, if you remember.
Jovetic, Negredo. Who else was there? I can't remember.
When was Savage, by the way? When did they sign Savage? Was that earlier?
I don't know, you know, to be fair.
They signed Demichelis, if you remember. Demichelis, Fernandinho, they signed that summer as well, too. Jesus Navas, they signed.
Jesus Navas. Yeah. They did.
I remember Navas when he came to Manchester City, bro. There was so much hype around him because at Sevilla he was killing it, and he came here, he couldn't cross a ball, bro. Navas here was awful, man.
And then he's there scoring against Man United in flipping 2020.
Oh, I was gonna say when he scored against. Oh my God, it was an own goal. I'm not giving him that, bro.
The Sun Sport. The Sun are never really that reliable, but it says understands that Ratcliffe is the preferred partner. Old Trafford insiders have indicated the Glazers would prefer to sell majority control to Ineos rather than flogging the whole club to Sheikh Jassim. That's what it says on the Sun Sport. Hold on. Boy, it's gonna be interesting times, bro. Let's see what happens. It's getting to Friday where apparently they're gonna start telling us who the bidders are. So let's see.
Look, I've been very on the fence about all of this. I haven't really gave my opinion on any of this because I keep saying, look, I'm not a financial advisor. I don't know any of the details. But if that is true, it was a good run, guys. We did okay for a couple of goofballs, man. We did all right for Man United, but hey, it's over.
If that happens, it's over. It's over for United, boy. But we'll get into that another time, man. We'll do that on a United state of mind. As you said, we haven't even discussed the takeover or anything because we don't act like, as you mentioned, we don't act like we know the backgrounds. I'm seeing people talk about 20% this and that, bro. I'd rather stay away from that. I don't know nothing about that. So, yeah, let's see what happens with that. And it's not about the guys if the debt stays and all that type of stuff. And there's a lot to go into it, but we'll discuss that anyway on another episode, bro.
Defo, that's a United state of mind for sure. Obvious comments with the super chat asking us, I guess, to give us a brief preview of the Europa League tomorrow. Sevilla or Juventus, who progresses to the final?
Oof.
I like the form Juve are in, to be honest with you. I like the way they're playing.
Juve are doing their thing, bro. Juve are doing their thing, but it's hard to bet against Sevilla in the Europa League, right?
It's true.
So that's actually a really good tie. I'm just
gonna go. Is back, man.
Hi, man. I'm gonna go.
Is back, man. I got Juve, bro.
Allegri. I don't mind Allegri winning the Europa League. Trust me, real men. I don't mind that, but I'm gonna go Sevilla just because of how they are in the final, bro. I mean, the Europa.
I hope you guys have noticed, by the way, Cam sprinkles his little. He puts himself in each corner very, very closely. Yo, he's got Sevilla, he's got Juventus for Real Men, he's got Mourinho for Roma. I'm sure he's got something to do with Alonso. I'm sure he was a big Alonso fan.
Listen, I'm going Sevilla. Juventus are nice, but I'm going Sevilla.
I got Juve.
Juventus are all right, but yeah, Sevilla.
Let's see. Is there anything else from tonight that you kind of want to speak about? Any other performances? Anything looking forward to next week, or you got everything off your chest?
Nah, not really, man. Not really. That game was mid. So yeah, I'm just waiting for NBA playoffs now, mate. Big one. Warriors versus Golden State. I mean, Golden State versus the Lakers. Obviously, the Heat should get it done today, so.
It's all starting to heat up, no pun intended. Yeah. But bro, just see the Raptors are they're interviewing JJ Redick for their head coach position. Hey, I keep saying it, bro. Thank you, Kawhi, for 2019. I ain't got to stress about this no more, bro. They can hire culture cams for all I care, bro. I got my ring. You can hire whoever, bro.
Don't kill me, man. Don't kill me. But hey, listen. Yeah, let's see, man. But we'll be back next week on this show for after the Real Madrid Man City game. Can't promise you nothing about that Inter AC game, but yeah, we'll see.
Definitely. Guys, make sure you like, share, subscribe, notifications on, share this with all of your friends. We will be back tomorrow, hopefully, potentially with FTBL Culture. So keep an eye out for that. Friday, I'll be back with 8 p.m. in Europe. And this weekend, Stoppage Time TV will be back. So a lot of good content. It's the crunch end of the season. This is where all the big games happen. And this is the place you want to be to cover all of that stuff. So again, make sure you like, share, subscribe, notifications on to stay updated whenever we go live or post a video. That being said, Cam, any last words before we sign off?
Yeah, man. Go check out Inside Scoop, a new episode out with Harry Pinero and Flex on Harry's channel. Go hit that up, man. Go run up the likes, go run up the comments in there. Let us know what you think. And yeah, bruv, that's another episode, of Final Whistle. Will be back next week. As he said, like, share, subscribe, hit the notifications. And that's about it, man. Thanks you for joining us, people.
We'll catch you guys. Peace.